hello, everybody. We're going to get this thing started here in a minute. Hope you all are having a good day. I would think that you probably are after that football game. We got a lot to talk about. And before I get started, I got a couple things to go over. I didn't watch the game live. I've since watched it on a replay. So I don't have the benefit of all the announcing. But you know how that goes. It's up and down. I was at Big Beers in Breckenridge, saw a ton, and I mean an absolute ton of Chiefs fans out there. And to all of you, I don't know all of your names, but there was at least 30 people in the room with me wearing red. We were all checking up the updates all day long. It was a great time. Thank you to the folks, the organizers of Big Beers up in Breckenridge. Great festival. I go every year. Didn't medal with my beer this year, but the score improved, so I'm getting better. So I'm pretty happy with that. This game, man, I was nervous before with the weather reports, so I was pleasantly surprised with how it all ended up. And before I go any farther, everybody say hi to Sean Donnelly when he's out there. Sean and his company, Insurance Inc., is our new sponsor. And if you missed the game plan video, I want to make sure that I mention them right off the top. They're independent insurance. And if you're looking for something new or just a different insurer, they can help you out. It's insuranceinckc.com. And I'll have it in the show notes and their phone number and all that too. Great sponsor. First one to jump into the channel and do it all on their own. So really appreciate that. Check out Sean and insuranceinckc.com. Hey, what's up, Brian Gooch? Thanks. What got into Bob? Well, Bob must have been watching the videos because he did most of the things that I've been asking him to do. Pressured up the middle with Anthony Hitchens in the A-gaps. Played more strictly man. Let Ward press a little bit more. Really released the hounds a lot. I have to say that what I saw from Dan Sorensen was pretty good too. I was really concerned about Ebron, and we'll get into all those details as we go around. Let me get my thoughts out, and then we'll start hitting the questions. All right, Matt? I saw you just hit one, and somebody else did too. Just give me a couple minutes and review a little bit, and then we'll go into the deep dive. I just finished posting the podcast from Arrowhead last night. It was Chris, Matt, Derek, and Seth Kaiser in the same room at Arrowhead. Kind of mad that I missed that one, actually. But that should be hitting iTunes here in a couple of minutes. So check that out when you're done. A lot of great information from them, and they got to see it from a firsthand perspective. They were all there, obviously. Richard, thank you for your donation. Appreciate it. From where I got to see it after the fact, a couple of takeaways for me. Didn't see Mahomes be shaky to begin the game. I thought with the weather the way it was going, with what they're going to have to do, I felt like they were going to have to run the ball more. And obviously a lot of carries for Little Williams, I'm going to call him in particular, but some for Darrell as well. And I think that's what they had to have, but they certainly took it as an opportunity to prove that weather can't stop them from what they want to do. Like we talked in the game plan video. Thank you, Daniel Riddick. Appreciate the donation. Like we talked in the game plan video, they got horizontal some. You saw the jet sweeps. They really paid off for Tyreek in a couple of situations. You saw them use the motion to get things flowing opposite the way they wanted to, and then were able to still attack downfield. And that's really, if you're a defense in this league, I mean, right now the Patriots, I don't think they're complete yet. Patriots are coming to town. As we run right now, they are scrolling down. I'm going to check that score right while we're talking, folks. And it has gone final. No, there's a minute left. The Patriots are coming to town. That's just the way that it's going to be. And if you are the Patriots, right now, you got to be panicking because what's been the big thing that the Patriots have had going for them last few years, right? It's playing in Foxborough. It's having that weather on their side. Now they have to go on the road, and they have to go someplace where a team just proved that they're high octane, run it around the edges as much as they want kind of offense can still work in bad weather, especially in Arrowhead. So this is a win, and we'll talk about the curse here in a second, but this is a win that sets up the next two games, and I am saying two games. I don't care if it were the Chargers, and it doesn't bother me that it's the Patriots. This team has proven now that they have a little bit of balance, and when they're properly motivated, and I'm not going to say it's Bob yet. I think it's very well mostly Justin Houston, but we'll get to that in a little bit. They've proven that they can do what they do in their house at their will, and you have to come stop them. I think that's a big change for this team. Wayne Meebane, thank you for your donation. Folks, hold off on the questions just so I don't miss them all. Let me get through my thoughts just so I can kind of get it out. The curse. yeah, the whole city's lifted, right? I mean, I had people texting me, family and friends that aren't football fans, that haven't watched the team all year. They gave up on football years ago during the Todd Haley era. I had them texting me in the middle of this game, what is going on? How did they get to this point? And how crazy is this? I think it's incredible. And I think what you've seen is the whole city has kind of shifted. Doesn't matter if you're on the Kansas side or the other side. Brian McGee, thank you for your donation. Very much appreciated. What's your question? Yes, I do believe the Chiefs can beat the Pats, and I will go into it in detail here in a little bit. But what it does in getting all of that off of everybody's shoulders is that you can move forward as well as the team can move forward. Because I think what Andy said and what the team had to say, Golden Patriot, how you doing, buddy? What the team had to say was, we're not going to pay attention. We don't care. The past is the past. We're not going to deal with it. We are who we are. We're going to move forward. And it worked for them. I think it has to work for them, especially for how young they are at a lot of positions. But also, it lets the city take its cue from the team. It's time for all Chiefs fans to move on too. This is the future. You can just let it all go from all the tribulations of the past. There'll be another loss someday. I don't think it's going to happen this season, but that's me. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming in. I see everybody joining, saying hello. Hope you're all doing well. Mike King, Pylon, what's up, everybody? I think that's really important to take that optimism and that this is us, how we are today, and let go of the past, son. Honestly, for everybody's enjoyment and for your enjoyment of the game. Ryan Gordon, thank you. Yes, Chiefs are going to be playing the Pats. And being able to do that and just let go and focus on this team, you can see and enjoy the differences. They ran the ball as good as they've run all season yesterday. Mike Adams, yes, I did see Damien Williams. And I have only watched the game once through. Obviously, it was the broadcast. Isaac Bell, thank you. I appreciate that. So I got to get all the details. When the 22 comes out, I'll do the normal thing. I was in Breckenridge this weekend. I'm going to be traveling in New Orleans next weekend. So this week's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to try to do some film. It's not going to be too in-depth, but I'm going to get a few in there, some of the things that stood out to me, and I'll have a game plan. The post-game is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be live from New Orleans on my phone, so just be prepared for that. This video next week is going to be a little different. But tons and tons and tons of takeaways from this. And the offense is the offense. And being able to do that in what I'm calling the blizzard, maybe it wasn't a blizzard, everybody said it wasn't that windy, but that's huge. And having the ability to recover from what I feel, and honestly, a lot of the analysts and the beat reporters that talk to the team feel, was such a blow when they had to let Kareem Hunt go. It changed the mentality of a lot of the team. It kind of took them into a funk. And having Damien be able to step up to the point where he ran as well in terms of production. Obviously, they're a different style. Damien's actually reminds me more of the speed kind of slash and go Holmes and I'm not going to say JC, but more the speed guy. Not the power that Hunt is, but it still is productive. And as long as that works, then that works. I love the fact, and you guys know I'm going to say this, I love the fact that they brought in Darrell Williams to run behind Anthony Sherman. And I thought they got that first down. But also Darrell's effort, I think, was great. And I think you're going to see him obviously take more of a role going forward. Spencer's still hurt. I don't know what his future is going to be. They're going to have to make some big signings in Jones and Hill. And that means everybody else has to get a little bit cheaper. So just bear that in mind. So you may be looking at a Williams and Williams show for quite a while. Thank you all for joining. I see everybody coming in. Yeah, it's not Sutton hate. It's Sutton reality. If Bob Sutton ran his defense all year like he ran it last night, this team would be a top 10 defense. That's the thing. So there's no letting go of the criticism of Bob Sutton. But you can go a long way to change it. He is able to stay creative, stay aggressive, as I've been telling you all season. Sorry, while I pour a little bit more. Stay aggressive. That was the key yesterday. Hitchens, Ward, obviously the D-line. Pressure is all important at this point. And you knew that the Colts offensive line could deal with pressure, yet the Chiefs were still able to get there. The knockdowns by Jones I thought was great. Like I told you before the game, we told you all week on the podcast, I did pregame, the matchup between Jones and Nelson was so key for him to be able to affect passes like that without having to get to the quarterback is just another step in his evolution, Chris Jones being an ultimate player. This is a nice thing to have. They haven't had this kind of pressure on the inside for a very, very long time. And I think that, like I said last week, when you have three, when you have Houston, Ford on the outside, and somebody in the middle, I think that that's really what this comes into. You take one away, it's too easy to double team two guys. It's too easy to say, we're going to focus on them and take them away from the pass rush. So it's just key. Dee Ford he is still just as speedy. It is still just as important. So we're going to continue to see him. He's open to the franchise tag. He said, somebody wants to pay me $20 million, I'm good with that. So I don't foresee any problem with them keeping Dee on the franchise tag, and he's not going to be a Le'Veon Bell. He's not going to be upset about it. He's going to take the money and run. And a motivated Dee Ford is this Dee Ford. I think that's good for him. I think a couple of seasons, maybe two, on the franchise tag are perfect for his career and for the Chiefs. It leaves you open to the end. We're going to see what happens with the defense, because even if they win this Super Bowl and the defense is not a flaw, there's going to be some change. So we'll see what they become later. And I have some feelings on that. I have some guesses about what's going to go on. We'll talk about it in the offseason when it comes to it. But Chris Jones is going to be a player either way, and they have to pay him. So that goes back on the offensive side to keeping the younger guys, and I think the Williams are here to stay. Bob Klein, let me get to your question in a minute. Hit me again with it, okay, just so I can come back. Man, that's a loaded question. Okay, so yes, Speaks, there's a future for him, and I think it's going to be in a slightly different role. But again, we'll talk about that in the offseason. Cool Mars, you said it. Oh, hey, Brad Gooch, I just saw yours. Thank you for the question and the donation. Do you feel Bob was vanilla on purpose? No, I don't. I feel Bob got pushed in the corner and said, you have to come out and you have to attack them. I think that came from Andy Reid, and I think that's why you saw what you saw. I don't think that came from Bob. I think Bob would like to sit back and play as much cautious zone as he can. So, that said, good play out of Hitchens. Thought he moved around well. I thought Reggie did well at the end of the game. In particular, I saw him making some stops. But clearly, he's not the coverage guy. I think this would have been an even better game had Dorian O'Daniel been able to go. I'm a little worried about his injury going forward. They're going to need him next week. I don't think Gronk, at least in the first half, Gronk didn't get targeted today. So that's kind of a significant thing. And if you're not going to have Barry, I think O'Daniel is a really, really good need, and he can fill that role in terms of especially the physicality up front. So what you saw from Sammy Watkins was what Sammy Watkins does. And, cortisone can be used. I don't know if they did. It's perfectly acceptable. It's by the rules. It's legal. But it does take some of the pain, lets you play. Sammy looked like he was pretty comfortable. So either he's fully healed or they gave him a little bit of help with something like cortisone, and that allowed him to play. We'll see how he practices now. With a 1 week turnaround now, we're going to see what he can put through, because you saw just how dynamic that made it. All the complaints about Sammy all season are legitimate. If you had him on the field full time, there wouldn't have been a race to get the number 1 seed. I can't even imagine what their record would be. So that's the kind of difference he makes, and he gives you enough plays to balance Hill, to give Kelce even more open space. And you saw what Kelce could do. This game went very, very much exactly like I thought, except for the weather. So I'm glad that it turned out that way. And this was a game that they could win that way. We're going to have to see a little bit of different practice, a little bit of different mentality against the Patriots, especially having played them already this season. So that's going to come into it. But I see people starting to ask a lot of questions, so I'll just start going through that now. We can talk about the offense as we go. I'm really going to look at the all-22 on the defensive side of the film, so be prepared for that. I got to dig in and see just who did what. First question here. Looks like Brian has an interesting one about DVOA, and they haven't won a road playoff game since 2006. That's the key. That's why, the number one seed, home field advantage, is the advantage. For the Chiefs and Arrowhead more so than most, but for any team, that's consistent, and that's why you have to have it. Because going on the road, even for the Patriots, is tough. And Tom Brady is getting older. I'm not going to say he's done by any means, but he's not the most mobile quarterback. So, again, you get that pass rush thing where you got to get the pinches, but the guys in the middle can really affect what he can do. And even if you have to make him take a couple of steps to the side or put an extra hitch, it changes the way their offense flows. Chris Jones is, again, going to be critical in this upcoming game. Blue Moon, thank you for your donation. I will come back to your question in just a minute. Let's see here. Would I rather have Antonio Brown over Watkins for the same money? No, I just wouldn't. I am really disappointed with what he's done as a person, throwing his teammates under the bus, his behavior. I don't want him in that locker room with a bunch of young guys. I'll tell you that right now. Same goes for Lev Bell. Somebody asked about it. Wesley asked about it. No, Lev is not coming to Kansas City, not with Damien, and they just gave him an extension, and they can get through the next 2 or 3 years without having to spend that kind of money. There's no way they spend money on Bell. I think Bell ends up in Tampa Bay with Arians. I think AB may end up there too, one way or the other. And I think that's great for them. That can rejuvenate the Bucs offense completely and give those guys a coach that can push them in a way because of their familiarity they can actually respond to in a positive way and end their careers on a better note than both of them are in a pretty sour place right now. But it's not going to be Kansas City. Let me get your other questions. Gronk had a 25-yard catch in the second quarter. Oh, sorry, Douglas, I didn't know that. At the point I was listening in the truck on the way back through the mountains, so reception was kind of spotty. At one point, I know that it had been quite a long while, and the announcers were talking about how he hadn't been targeted. So I think Sammy could score next week. I think it's all matchup based. We'll see what they do. I don't expect them to play the Pats to play the same secondary that they played the first time. I want to see what Gilmore does. I want to see what they do with the McCourties. And I don't even know if both of them are ready to play or not. I haven't looked at the Patriots specifically until the Chiefs were going to play them. So I'll take another look at them now and see who's available now. Super Bowl, Nate Hill. Super Bowl is in this plan, and it is attainable. They have to come out like they came out this game. This defense did what it's capable of. Can they play better? Maybe if Barry was out there, but I didn't see, at least on the broadcast version, I felt like Lucas played solid. I felt like Sorensen was good when he was up in the box. I'll have to look at what he did when he was in the back, but the safeties you can really only judge from the All-22, and it's not going to be out yet. So I think that there's still a little bit more to improvement, but if they play like they played against the Colts, against the Patriots, they win by 2 touchdowns at least. So that said, next question from Steven Taylor. What do you think about our last draft class so far and the potential for other picks to contribute more later in this season? I don't know that you're going to see much more from Breeland Speaks other than spot duty. Breeland Speaks needs an offseason. Changing positions to the OLB, if they stay with the 3-4, he's got to adapt to that. He's got to drop some weight. He's got to get more explosive. He has the capability, and you see it from time to time, but he's not 100% in that go now. But I think an offseason training with Barry Rubin and training with the team, getting in an NFL weight room, I think that's going to be important. Come OTAs, hopefully he's done enough work in his own offseason. When he comes back for OTAs, he better be in shape. He better be ready to go because I think he can play a role going forward. I just don't see him more than spot duty coverage here in this last 2 games. Who else has a question? John Snyder. Didn't they show everything on defense throughout the season? Looks like they held back until the playoffs. I don't know that I'd say that. I mean, Bob has rushed the inside linebackers in coverage before. Getting 5 is a sound way to go. Rushing with 4 is a gamble that I don't like personally, but Bob does. And we've seen him use 5 rushers, whether it was the inside linebackers or the safeties. So that didn't surprise me too much. The fact that he was so consistent about it and that the players then were able to take that and let their aggression out. Diedrich Bradley, do you think Bob called a great game, or did Luck crumble under pressure? The pressure was definitely a factor, but Luck's a tough guy. I don't think that was it. Bob called a good game. I have to see what some of the other coverages were, and I have to see the All-22. But whether it was, a play design or a specific defense, that play call, I'll have to look at the All-22. But in general, he took on a more aggressive mentality and allowed the athletes the Chiefs have to do what they do best, especially in the front seven. And I've been telling you all season, let the guys do what they can do. And this is what it looks like when he does. So take that for what it's worth. And that hopefully you'll see that more. I expect Bob to come back with some safety blitzes against Tom Brady, because I think he feels like he has to be a little more crafty rather than just say, we're going to bring 5, and one's going to be a linebacker and just see how you deal with it. I think he will get a little more crafty and use some of his more exotic type stuff. When Bob is forced to be creative and be aggressive, he can do a good job. It's just not his nature, I feel. I've never met the man, so I'm talking out of just my observations. Should Barry restructure his contract? One of my favorite players, but Chiefs have paid him for 3 seasons he didn't play. That's Jason Austin. Thanks for your question. And that's a fair comment. He won't. I'll tell you that. No player, especially at his age, is going to give up money. I just don't see it happening. Maybe because of the way that the Chiefs handled his cancer diagnosis and everything. Maybe there's a personal relationship with Clark there that I'm unaware of, and maybe that would change it. But that's the only thing that would change it, I think. In day-to-day business in the NFL, no player at 30 years old is going to give up money because the end is in sight, whether it's from this injury or just getting older. So I expect them to make another run at Earl Thomas. And I think if that happens, that may be the impetus to get him to restructure in order to play with Earl. Because Eric Berry and Earl Thomas together and healthy, and that's a question mark for both of those players, don't get me wrong. But you put them together in a defensive backfield, and that is easily the top safety pair. And if they can get another man corner who can do his job, because they're going to lose several, they could be the best secondary in the entire league next season. So don't be shocked if it happens. But Jason, good question. I like that one. A lot of folks happy with the D-line. Should be. They played a heck of a game. And he's coming with a big plan on Sunday. Cool, Mars. I hope you're right, and I'm pretty sure you are. How'd my beard do? I improved. Adam Doherty, I appreciate that. I improved. I got up to a 36 at the BJCP on my barley wine that I make. Not great. I didn't medal, none of that. But, it's up 4 points from last year, so I'm improving. And I, since a couple of months working at Free State back in the early 90s, I hadn't brewed until like 2 years ago. So I'm really getting back into it. But thanks for asking. How do you stop James White? You can't. He's so crafty. Even if you have a guy that can physically match up with him, he runs hard. He knows when not to. He knows when to take it and just get out of bounds. He's so elusive in the pass game. It's sick. Dorian O'Daniel is going to be key for that. Daniel Sorensen cannot cut with him. He cannot cover him in open space, but Dorian can. So I think that's going to be really, really critical. I hope that the Chiefs having Barry and Dorian off this week and still being able to perform their defense at that level, I think you could get both back. It's a possibility. Again, I have no insight to that. I haven't spoken to anybody who knows anything about their physical condition. So when I hear something, I'll let you know. Moving on, next question. I'm trying to hit all of them, folks. Oh, somebody else made a donation. I'm catching up. Let's see here. Comment on the secondary. It looks like they played man-to-man. They did play a lot of man-to-man. There was some zone. It was a mixture, but it was more man, and they were closer to the line. I can't say – I didn't track it yet about how many times they jammed or didn't, but they were closer. They were more hands-on early in the route, and again, that won them the route. Because of the quick passing game the Colts used, you had to do that in order to reroute some of those patterns. Do you think Andy Reid is going to keep his foot on the pedal against the Patriots? He better, because you saw what they did to San Diego, LA today. He better. There is no mercy. It's the playoffs. You score until they stop you. I expect them to go over 45, maybe 50 points. Keep it down. Will Andy do it? I don't know. You saw them kind of slow down a little bit. I don't think he took the foot off, but a little bit of execution error, a couple of less aggressive plays. You saw them have a lull in the second half where they didn't put up near as many points. There were other circumstances around that, but yeah, you have to keep pushing. Next question. Oh, zombie, I like that. Bob had the hood up on his jacket. Okay. Hey, if he can get in his own world and call like that and make sure they're doing it, more power to him. You think Pat will be able to beat cover zero? Pat can beat cover zero any day of the week, all day long. Cover zero is what he wants because he's got guys like Hill and Watkins who can either use their body or their explosive speed to get open or at least get enough of an opening for Mahomes in 3 steps. Cover zero is a beautiful thing for them to face. I don't think the Pats are going to do that against him. He's too explosive, and they've seen it firsthand. I don't expect him to play a lot of cover 2. They could go to some 3 maybe, but I expect them to play man as well. Rivers folded like a cheap suitcase, as happens. Anson Lee, what position do the Chiefs need most in the draft? It's going to be cornerback. I expect Ford to be franchised, and that's going to take care of the pass rush. I think Justin Houston obviously is doing what he's doing. So you're going to look at corner. I think they're going to lose multiple guys, and Fuller might be the only guy. Fuller and Ward might be the only 2, along with Smith, that will be here. You're going to need maybe 2 starters. So don't be sellouts. Barry's still Barry. Drake's Duke, I agree with you. Barry is still Barry. If he's just healthy. If he's not, then he's not, and there's nothing they can do about it. But thoughts on Sharkanic West? He was bad on special teams. Yeah, he missed a couple of blocks too, and I don't know, maybe just a bad day. I don't know. But like I told you, that kid that blitzes for Indianapolis all the time, Moore, I think it was Moore, 23. He got the better of Sharkanic a couple of times. So yeah, call it a bad day out. Sharkanic knows what he's doing. He's a good special teams player. I don't think that's changed. If LDT's healthy, when do you start him over Wiley? It's getting to the point where I don't know if you can. There is a certain rhythm that is developed between players on that offensive line. And you're talking there's 2 games left. And, likelihood, you have the coach's staff are going to take it from the perspective. Every game is its last game because it's 1 and out. You don't want to upset that chemistry, even though he's a better player. So what I'd like to see is them go to some 6-man lines. I mean, you know me, I'd like to see them use power and dominate. But I just don't think they're going to disrupt it, especially because they've been really slow to even activate him. If he's going to be available on game day, I don't think I would. I could be wrong. Andy Heck might be like, get him back in there as soon as possible. Let Wiley be the 6th guy, and I'm perfectly okay with that too. Wiley's a good player. He has come a long, long way this season. And it comes from trial by fire, being in there. So, Samir, thank you for your donation. Offense in the second half. That's what I was saying. It was some execution. There was a whole drive that Eric Fisher destroyed by himself on bad plays and penalties. So that was a negative. I felt like they weren't quite as aggressive with the play design in the second half. But I wouldn't say it was as bad as normal where they totally take their foot off the gas. I think some of that was execution. I had, by my count, there was like 3 or 4 good depth passes that Mahomes missed Tyreek Hill on. And as long as you're taking those shots, I think you're still doing yourself some service. So I won't be too alarmed, but they definitely have to keep pushing. If we cut Barry, isn't dead cap like 7 to 8? I don't know. I haven't looked at his contract. Dead money is meaningless. That's on Clark. Clark will pay that and not care. It's about how much of the cap space goes away for a player you don't have on the roster anymore. And I don't know what his cap space is. So I'll try to look at that here after the season. We'll concentrate on the field right now. Yes, Aaron Morrow, you're right. DOD. I covered him a little earlier, Aaron. If you're late to the show, go back maybe 10 minutes. It's going to repost when we're done. So it'll be a regular video on YouTube. Hey, Otis, go away. Is the defense better without Barry? No, I won't say that. I will not say that ever. I don't think he's done, and I don't think there's any way you can justify that. Will Belichick come up with a blueprint? He always does. He's Bill Belichick. The question is, have they built the roster to the point where he can't do what he does? Because he wants to take away your strength and make you do things that you aren't as good at. But their strength is Hill and Kelce and Watkins. And now Williams has emerged enough of a running threat that if he takes one of those away, the other three are going to make up for it. So go ahead, Bill. Pick your poison. Everybody else, and this quarterback, the only thing that can happen is if they somehow stop Patrick from running around. If they either run, I mean, they could run wide 7s and wide 9s together and leave the middle empty in an effort to limit his mobility and what he can do. And maybe that could stop him from having the time to go downfield like he wants to. If you make Patrick Mahomes be a pocket passer, he's still going to hurt you, though. It might not be for 60-yard bombs, but he's still going to hurt you. He's good from the pocket. That's the problem. There's no one way to take care of him. So, Ryan Gordon, I would love to. It's illegal to ship beer to private parties, though. So, I'm going to say here on public YouTube that, no, I'm not going to ship anything anywhere. Tobacco and firearms, not me. But, hey, you never know what happens with something else. Maybe we'll meet up sometime. Belichick, yes, you're right. Was there any word on Mahomes' leg getting dinked up? You know, I heard about it when it was live. The wife was texting me pretty constantly. But after that, came back in, didn't seem to show any limp. Seemed like he played through it. I'm guessing he's pretty sore today, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to hold him back. There'd be a report, or he would have shown more impact to his play last night. Any news on LDT? Wait a minute. No, I don't have any. Jason, got yours. Look forward to watching Skip Bayless. Yeah, Skip's never going to admit it. I've never seen him admit anything. I stopped watching him years ago because of that. So you let me know if he actually does eat crow, please. Do you think we'll work in the no huddle play? We got shredded with that. Yeah, they have to. Odin's Child, good question. And that's again what the Patriots want to do, to keep you in a single package, keep you in a single personnel group on your defense and hammer it where you're weak. And that's, again, why you have to have just being versatile, having a guy like DOD who can play against the run some, obviously not his forte, but he can play well enough, but he can play in coverage too. He's a cog that allows the defense to be more adaptable on a play-to-play basis. Binder Believer, how are you? Appreciate that. Oh, sorry, Ryan, I didn't realize that was a joke. I thought you were serious. But no, I know people that have been busted for shipping beer, so I'm not going to cop to that ever. Thank you, folks. You think we should play more man? Yes. They play a lot of man. It's the way that they play man that I don't like. They play normal man coverage. They don't get their hands on enough. You have 5 yards in which you can get your hands on receivers and either stop their route or redirect a route or throw their timing off. You don't have to call it a jam. Some do, but it's press. It's having contact so that you can feel. And there's feedback. Just like when you drive your car, you get road feedback, right, on how it feels, where it's moving. Same thing for corners. And that's really critical for playing man, because when you have no contact, there's always that cut and there's always that gap. If you're close enough to touch the guy, him getting, especially if he's to one side of you, cutting back under is a difficult thing. So you have that control there, using your body to shield against some of the moves that some guys can do. It's especially important at the slot, and I just want to see him press more. Reed said no injuries were reported after the game. Thanks, Jared Presley. Appreciate that. I hadn't seen it. What else here? Anybody else have questions? Hit them up there. Sorry, I'm seeing question marks only, and I don't know what your question was. I can't really scroll very well. So, Gary Cole, do we start Dieter, being that the Pats haven't gotten any film on him? I think Dieter's going to be good. I don't think they're going to do that, but I thought that catch was nice. I only saw one. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think he's running better routes. Excuse me. He's clearly an athlete, and I think he's an asset to this team. So I'd like to see him get more touches. I think in the offseason and next season, he definitely will. Andrew Lifer, sorry. You tell me. Believer, thank you again. Do you think Bill Belichick's going to try and run on us more or pass? If I was him, I would run first because he knows, despite what happened the last 2 games, that the defense has been porous against the run all season. So if I'm him, I think you'd try that. The difference is that McMinney doesn't like to do that. Josh McDaniels wants to throw the ball first. So I just don't know who's actually in charge. A lot of people say that McDaniels calls the offense and Belichick stays out of his way for the most part. Andrew, why did the Chargers get so incredibly exposed against the Pats? I don't know. I didn't see any of it. I had it on the radio, but I didn't see a thing, so I can't tell you. What do you think the pass rush will get to Brady better than the Chargers did? I think it's different. I think I'll have to look at the matchups again. I feel like it's a better matchup for the Chiefs because while Bosa's good and Ingram's good, neither of them have Dee Ford's explosive first step. And neither of them have the power that Justin Houston has. So that combined with the interior pass rush, which I think the Chiefs are definitely better with Jones than anybody that the Chargers have, I think it's just a better front overall. And we'll have to see how they look. But I'll look at those matchups as we go through the week, at least early in the week. It's going to be a tight week for me again. If you missed it before, we'll do the film real quick. I'll have a pregame, but I'm going to be traveling this whole next weekend down in New Orleans. So it'll be a little bit abbreviated. Belichick, good question. Okay. Trying to wrap up these questions, folks. John Snyder, could we run more out of an I formation instead of the shotgun so much? It's not Andy's style. He doesn't like it versatility-wise. But what you saw with those split rotations, they could do that out of the I too. Line up in an I, and you can shift them both out to wings because the running backs can line up as wide receivers. And Sherman or even Darrell Williams could line up as H-backs. So, yeah, there's some versatility there. I'd like to see him do it. Will the Chiefs use a 4th DB on the Pats running back on passing downs? I don't think so, but it could happen that way. I just hope it's not Sorensen. I'm going to take a look at it. Evidently, some Pats fan in here thinks I'm crazy about James White, so I'll have to go revisit him and see what he's done the last week or two because I haven't been watching much on him. Do you like the Lucas-Sorensen combo going into the Pats? No, I don't. Lucas has too little experience, and Dan Sorensen's been burnt by Tom Brady too much. That's just me. Murray's not much of an upgrade. Murray has played decently against Brady in general, but he's gotten burned as well. So it's really about, any 3 of them in any combination, get Barry back. Have Ron coach the guys up. I think at this point, Ron Parker's better on the sideline than he is on the field. And that's sad to say, but I like the way he played early in his career. Dieter at tight end. No. Daniel, he's just too small. If he were to go up against linebackers, he'd get tossed around. He can't effectively block, and I think they just reroute him too much to make him an effective pass catcher at that point. So, Jason, not a question. Just wanted to say thanks for all the hard work this year covering the Chiefs. Appreciate your insights. I appreciate you guys watching. YouTube is helping me, throwing me a couple of coins based on how many people watch, and you guys have been great. I'm going to keep it up. If you don't know me before this season, I do all kinds of draft work, and I run a company called Rogue Analytics. And I do analytics on the combine data and pro day performances. It's all athleticism. And I have my own trends and my own metrics that I've developed over the years from strength and conditioning and my personal experience. So we'll talk about all that all season. I'm not going anywhere. Brady is the Ice King. I like that one. Chief special teams have been amazing all year. What happened yesterday? I don't know if it's just the slippery traction or it was just the day or the cold. It could have been a number of things. They weren't at their best, but I don't expect them to play a poor game like that again. So I wouldn't worry about it. I do. Johnny Barnes, great question. Just flat out, do you think they beat the Patriots? Yes, I do. I'll say it right now, and I'll have more in the Locked On Chiefs podcast. We'll do the prediction show. I will be taking your Kansas City Chiefs. Noddy was the draft pick of the year. I think O'Daniel's right behind him, but Noddy's been really great. I like the way he plays. Okay, we're going to wrap it up with with these questions. I'm sorry, folks. I heard today that Gronk's last game. Really, Jerry? Okay, I'll have to dig into that. I have no idea. Watson's the best pick. Yeah, we'll see. I think Armani can be very, very good. But this year, this performance this season, he's not in the running because he didn't play enough. I hope Gronk is retiring. He should. I don't think he's very healthy. Just for his life, his old age, I hope that he does retire. I don't know anything about Adderley yet, Young. I appreciate the question. I'll get into that in the offseason. Do you think Mahomes will play better this time around against the Pats? I think he will. I think you'll see him a little more calm and a little more under control. He was really erratic that first quarter especially, but most of the first half against the Patriots. Armani, yeah, okay, you guys talk about Armani. Do you think Watts really contributes? I do. I really, really do. It's just about when. There's going to be that thing, and he's got a lot of learning to do, but they always say that the jump from the first season to the second season is the biggest jump players usually make. So, hey, I think that's going to go for him too. He showed the athleticism. He's got to learn the defense better, but he'll get there. Hey, look, Sean's on from Insurance Inc., folks. Make sure you hit insuranceinckc.com if you need some insurance or you just want to look at maybe changing. Who knows? Hit Sean up. And as much as I like him, thank you for the donation, Sean. 31 Williams has two big mistakes. Missed his block on the block punt and dropped a handoff. I didn't see the dropped handoff, and I am pretty sure it was Charvarius that missed that block because he hit him. And I think he's supposed to hit him and let him go. And you see that Charvarius is supposed to take most players are coached to take the guy most interior, the most threat to the kicker, and take him first. And I think Charvarius should have done that. I could be wrong. I'm not in the coaching room, but that's what I think. I think he did what he was supposed to do. Yeah, let him retire the GOAT. I'm happy with that. Be one of the greatest tight ends in history and go away, Gronk. King Soul, I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean. Wiley at left guard. No, he's never played over there. He played left tackle in camp, if I remember right, but he never played left guard. I don't think that's an offing at all. And I think they like Cam Irving there. He's versatile. He's athletic, and I think they like what he's doing. He had a couple of bad plays yesterday, but I think he's the guy locked in at left guard. Eagles putting it on the Saints. Oh, I'll have to check that out here in a minute. Playing by, thank you. I appreciate that. Providence, Rhode Island. That's great to see somebody from out east. Thank you for watching. Brady could pass the torch in this upcoming game. Do you think Speaks makes the tackle on Tom Brady? I think Speaks would now. I think he's over being concerned about it. I'll tell you that. Okay, last question. Just joining. Rev Dog, I'm sorry you just made it. I'm about to sign off, but the whole show will post back to YouTube here in a little bit. Do you see playing intense like yesterday against the Patriots? They have to. If they don't, they'll lose. Andy Humberg. Mutton chops. I'm not doing the mullet again, dude. Folks, say hi to Andy Humberg, old friend of mine. Hi, Denton, Texas. How are you? So, long story short, and I will let you all get back to your day and watch the end of this last game. Chiefs showed up on both sides of the ball. They got to do it again. And it's going to be important because you can't do what you did against Tom Brady 2 games in a row because he'll just eat you apart. So, this aggression, playing more man, playing more bump, being able to get on the interior of that offensive line is going to be critical. I think that they do it. I'm positive about the outcome. I'll have a look at what the Patriots did today against the Chargers, but I have an idea that it's partly on the Chargers in terms of execution offensively that was part of the problem. Just my guess, but I'll check that out. And I'll have thoughts for you both on this game with a little bit of film here in a couple of days, as well as the game plan video that'll be up later in the week. So, breaking news, they paid Bob Sutton a 2-year extension. Cool Mars, you better be joking. I'm just saying. All right. Thank you all for your questions. Thanks for hanging out. Berg, I'm glad you made it, man. I'm out of here. So you all have a good day. The film review will be up in a couple of days, and I will talk to you all later.